Welcome into another episode of Always Talking Ball with Tyler Noe and Lance Barton. Our guest today has put in a ton of work this offseason to get us ready for the 2025 college football season with yet another tremendous magazine. It's out now. You can go to pick6previews.com, get a hard copy, get a digital copy, whichever you like. Brett Ciancia of Pick Six Previews joins us. Welcome in, Brett. Let's finish off with the ACC. I want to touch on Miami real quick. I have obviously, ever since this podcast has been birthed, I am not a Carson Beck guy. And it's not necessarily because I just think he's a terrible quarterback. But again, it seems like you might agree with me a little bit because you've got Haynes King and Kevin Jennings over him on your all ACC teams. What I know with that Shannon Dawson offense with Miami, they're going to put up points. Obviously, it worked wonders for Cam Ward last year. What are your expectations for Miami this year, and specifically on the offensive side of the ball with Carson Beck?
Yeah, well, I would really consider them for my overall ACC pick. I know that Clemson was locked in by everybody in the country as a top 5 team and the automatic ACC pick. To me, it really was a contest. It was wide open for me. I really compared them, all summer, all winter. And really the only liability I found, one of the main liabilities was Carson Beck. I don't know how that's going to work. He played really well in 2022, or maybe I'm off by a year, 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Last year came into the season as the preseason Heisman favorite. It did not click at all. And going back to that game I was at in Tuscaloosa, Georgia, Bama, that first half, it looked like he was seeing ghosts. I think he threw 3 picks. Now, granted, the second half, he looked like a Heisman. So it's very hit or miss. It's boom or bust. He had a winter injury, so he wasn't doing much in spring ball. So, that's definitely a question mark. I don't like question marks when I'm trying to pick a winner. So definitely a question. But to answer your question with Miami, it's definitely the best talent acquisition team. I mean, top 25 in transfers and high school the last 3 years, surpassing Clemson as the top recruiter. So they have a lot of firepower, but I think Clemson, with all those starters back, I think it's 19 or 20 starters back, the more proven product. I'm going to go with Clemson over Miami.
All right, Brett, a team that Tyler and I both really like going into this year, and it seems like a lot of other people do too, and rightfully so. We're big fans of Brent Key. We think that he's one of those that just does more with less. And, looking at your metrics too, it looks like he grades out as the best hire of the 2023 cycle with a plus 19.6 impact on your game grader metric. The Jackets, they bring back their dynamic backfield duo of Haynes King and running back Jamal Haynes, and they were able to hold on to their great offensive coordinator, Buster Faulkner, who we're really high on. Can this Jackets team compete for an ACC title this year under Brent Key?
I think absolutely. And, here's a couple things I like about him is you touched on with Brent Key. He inherited a mess. He really did. And he turned it into a winner. 5-3 in the conference last year, really had Georgia beat. It was a great game, a coin flip, but I like to think they were toe to toe with Georgia last year and bring a lot back. So I love the dynamic at quarterback and running back with Haynes King and Jamal Haynes. I like the addition at receiver. They brought in Eric Rivers. But the offensive line, that's Key's calling card. That's his expertise. I think they're going to be strong again. They never get enough credit, really. They should be a Joe Moore Award finalist most years. The amount of, you look at my metrics and their performance, especially with some 3-star guys. So great coaching going on. But the thing I like best about Georgia Tech, and this is part of the forecasting method, is you got to look at schedule. The schedule lottery nowadays, because there's no divisions. There's these super conferences with 18 teams. And the schedules are so unbalanced. So when you look at it with Georgia Tech, they only play one of my top 7 ACC teams. What that means is you're playing 7 from the bottom half of the league. So I know that it might not win them all, but I think they're going to be favored in a lot of ball games, a lot of winnable games. I mean, Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, Cuse, Boston College, those should be 4 straight wins right there. Duke and NC State still should be favored. Pitt's kind of a coin flip, and then Clemson would be tough, but. So many winnable ball games for them in the ACC slate that they could sneak into it. They can be 7-1 and win some tiebreak scenario into Atlanta for sure.
All right, bro. We can't get out of here without talking about Clemson and old Dabo. Obviously the expectations are there just to win ACC championships. They've been doing that. But it seems like this year the expectation is, and rightfully so, is to compete for a national championship. I mean, they bring in Tom Allen, defensive coordinator, the coordinator duo there in general with Garrett Riley and Tom Allen. What they're bringing back along that defensive front, Cade Klubnik, veteran quarterback that had, in my opinion, was the most improved player at the highest level of college football last year from year over year, what he did in 2023 to what he did in year 2 in Garrett Riley's system with those receivers that they've got coming back. What do you think this Clemson team is not just obviously an ACC championship contender, but I'm talking about competing for a national championship this year? Are they that good?
So tough to call. I mean, the ACC to me is the fourth of the four conferences. So picking them to win the ACC, I guess, isn't saying too much because now you got to compare them against some giants. I mean, Georgia, Bama, Texas, Ohio State, Penn State. I don't know how they fare against that tier. In fact, we're going to learn right away against LSU in that opener. But I'll give a lot of credit to Cade Klubnik and the young receiver core. They really stepped up in the back half of that season, and especially against Texas. So I guess in a way they did prove themselves against Texas in the playoff last year. But yeah, I think the most veteran team in the conference, the most veteran in the country, actually, like 20 starters back, All-American quarterback, the number one D line, number one linebackers, number one D backs, 1-1-1 all the way across on my unit rankings in the ACC. Coordinator hire, I like that. You touched on that. It took a step back after Brent Venables left, but now they got a great one again. So you know what? I think they'll win the conference, and I think they will be competitive against that tier. I think you'll see a kind of a one-score game against LSU, no matter which way it ends up. And then I think they'll take care of South Carolina this year in the finale. I think that they're going to win that one, go on to the playoff with a bye, and we'll see. I think other teams might catch up to them. Right now, they have the advantage of being veteran, but over the course of 12, 13, 14 games and 4 months, these younger teams like Ohio State and Oregon, they're going to catch up on the national stage. So, yeah, long-winded answer there. I like what Dabo has built and continued to build, and this is their year to cash in again, and maybe one last glimmer of hope in the playoff bracket for them.